Donald Trump's post-State of the Union psychotic meltdown is truly a sight to behold. He was ranting raving like a lunatic all of yesterday. He was making posts like this. When you watch low IQ Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib as they screamed uncontrollably at the very elegant State of the Union, wah, 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 lunatics, mentally deranged, when people can behave like that and knowing that they are crooked, something about Robert De Niro, something about crazy Rosie O'Donnell, who's in Ireland. Not sure why you're talking about her. The only difference between De Niro and Rosie O'Donnell is that she's smarter than him. America's bigger, better, richer, and it's driving everybody crazy. Donald J. Trump, what the hell are you talking about? I mean, this guy is truly demented. And then he wanted everybody to know, congratulations to Gianni Infantino on 10 years of being the president of FIFA. Yeah, man, you're the president of the Football League. What a great leader, Donald Trump says. Here's to another 10, 20, or 30 years. Great work, Infantino. That's what the American people are thinking about right now. I'm being sarcastic, as the American people are psychologically tortured, living paycheck to paycheck, can't afford rent, can't afford homes, highest credit delinquency rates in generations, some of the lowest consumer confidence in generations, while Americans are suffering each and every day. ICE, Border Patrol, Gestapo terrorizing, torturing people. That's what you're out there saying. Great work, FIFA president, who gave me a fake Peace Prize award. Yeah. Rosie O'Donnell, Robert De Niro. You're crazy people. Really? That's what you're talking about? And the American people are so over this. He's so utterly pathetic. I'm not even going to play his voice on this video. He's so utterly pathetic. And by the way, he was obviously so fatigued from that State of the Union that he was like nowhere to be found yesterday. He's like disappeared. He's probably just sleeping all day. So he had J.D. Vance, though, go out there, right? And so after the regime terrorized and tortured people across this whole country, but also in Minnesota and Minneapolis and St. Paul with ICE and Border Patrol, mass Gestapo, SS, Nazis, shooting, killing people, terrorizing people, putting them in concentration camps, right? That's what's going down in the United States right now as all of that's happening, right? They stopped doing that, but now they have another plan for Minnesota. So J.D. Vance, he holds a press conference. Where the hell is Donald Trump? And J.D. Vance says, we will be withholding Medicaid funding to Minnesota. That's how we're going after Minnesota now. We're going to withhold Medicaid funding. So they go from ICE, Border Patrol, killing them, and now they're going to take away people's access to critical care and kill people en masse. I just want you to, from our international audience, I just want you to think about that. From our national audience also, the plan is the federal government is quite literally going to tread on people and take away their Medicaid and kill them. Kill them. Exterminate them. I don't know how else to describe it. Just, that's what it is. That's facts. Here's what Vance says. Let's play it.
So we're announcing today that we have decided to temporarily halt certain amounts of Medicaid funding that are going to the state of Minnesota in order to ensure that the state of Minnesota takes its obligations seriously to be good stewards of the American people's tax money. Now, what is this going to mean? What this means is that, first of all, the providers on the ground in Minnesota have actually already been paid. The state has paid those providers the money. What we're doing is we are stopping the federal payments that will go to the state government until the state government takes its obligations seriously to stop the fraud that's being perpetrated against the American tax.
Right. Well, all that's taking place. Pathetic Donald Trump was nowhere to be found yesterday. Governor Tim Walz responded to this plan to take away people's Medicaid in Minnesota. That's the big Trump initiative yesterday. Not how can we help? How do we torture and make people in Minnesota suffer? Governor Walz says, this is a campaign of retribution. Trump is weaponizing the entirety of the federal government to punish blue states like Minnesota. These cuts will be devastating for veterans, families with young kids, folks with disabilities, and working people across our state. The Trump regime is literally killing people again, over and over, en masse. Then J.D. Vance is like, I know there's going to be people in the media who are going to say you're hurting children. No, it's hurting fraudsters, Vance says. Here, play this clip.
The fact that we have so normalized this, and the fact that I guarantee there are going to be voices in the media, there are going to be voices in the state of Minnesota who say this is hurting children. No, it's hurting fraudsters. The way to protect kids is to go after those fraudsters, which is what we're doing.
And then, like the predator he is, Vance, Epstein class, he's a predator. He's with Dr. Oz up there too, another predator, right? Dr. Oz also invited Epstein to his Valentine's Day party, right? All these people are just sickos. Sick sickos. But J.D. Vance is like, we don't want to do this to the kids and the people who need their Medicaid, but we have to. We have to do it to you. We have to make you suffer. Okay, yeah, you guys are out of your mind. You guys are crazy people. Why are you doing this to Americans? You just leave people alone and let them have their health care. Just let people live their lives. This regime is cruel and unusual. Here, play this clip.
But I feel quite confident we have the legal authority to do this. And again, I'd reiterate, we don't want to do this. Like, we don't want to be in a situation where the state of Minnesota is being so careless with federal tax dollars that we have to turn the screws on them a little bit so that they take this fraud seriously.
And then they have their regime media. Jesse Waters says, you know what? I want to let everybody know, Republicans, we're just better looking. We're more handsome and beautiful than the Democrats. Play the clip.
It's also a great format for the president because the Republicans are just better looking. All of the cutaways to these Democrats, it's sad. It is a sad look that our cabinet's more attractive. The Trump family is more attractive. I'm sorry. It's just the truth.
Now, what you are a bunch of Epstein class protectors is what you are. Y'all see that interview with Adrian Aviles, the widower of Regina Santos Aviles. She was the young staffer who worked for MAGA Republican Congressmember Tony Gonzalez, who was sexually harassing her, preyed on her, said horrible things to her. He would like text her in the middle of the night, anal ? Send me naked photos of you. You know, I want to see you do this. What's your favorite position? She's like, stop. Anyway, there's apparently really even worse messages that he sent that her ex-husband had. She ended up dying by suicide and purportedly burned herself to death, self-immolated was the story that was out there. But her husband was on CNN. Her ex-husband her husband died tragically. He was on CNN. Here's what he said. Play this clip.
Of course, our Capitol Hill reporter, Gonzalez, says, look, you guys haven't seen all the facts. There's going to be ample time for all of that to come out. Does this change anything for you when you go back to that Friday night in May? Does him saying that mean anything?
Actually, it makes me even angrier because, again, he's deflecting. And, the man has no values. He runs his whole campaign on family values, and he runs everything, saying that he's some family man. He's actually quite of a sick man. I have all the messages that's shared between them two. And, the things that, I just released a tip of the iceberg of the things that this man was telling her. I released just what was, enough information for the people to understand who this person and who they were dealing with. If I were to release everything, again, my biggest thing is protecting my son. I will not release, the salacious messages that went back and forth much deeper than what, and much more graphic, rather, than what I presented to the American people.
Right. I mean, if you think about these MAGAs all around, it's like, what the hell is even going on? Right. You've got Kristi Noem. She's been traveling around on a private jet with Corey Lewandowski, who allegedly they're having an affair together, is what people are reporting. And they fired the Coast Guard pilot because he had their blanket and they wanted their blanket, but apparently there's something being hidden in the blanket that was very sensitive and private to Kristi Noem. And so anyway, it appears that the blanket that was a cover story because Noem and Lewandowski were worried about was a personal bag of Noem that could contain items that would be embarrassing to her. And this is why they fired their pilot for not giving them back the blanket. The hell, who are these people? This is just, y'all realize this is not normal. Like, this is not the way government's supposed to behave. So then Wired magazine reported that a MAGA influencer X account called Johnny MAGA was actually secretly being run by a White House staffer named Garrett Wade, who's married to White House press assistant Allison Schuster. You see them there together. And this Johnny MAGA account pretends to be this independent account, but just amplifies all of Trump's stuff and in the most kind of sycophantic ways, but it's actually a White House staffer. But I don't even know, why do you even need Johnny MAGA when you've got that new CBS host who may as well be Johnny MAGA? Tony D, Johnny MAGA, and CBS has Tony D's. They're Johnny MAGA. He called Donald Trump's State of the Union extraordinary, vintage Trump, incredible, is what he said. Vintage Trump, incredible, is what he said. Meanwhile, on CNN, they brought on Markwayne Mullin, MAGA Republican Senator Mullin, and he says that you can see how great our country is. There's so much winning because we have had trillions of dollars committed to rebuilding manufacturing plants. Wow. Donald Trump made up a fake number, trillions. So we have trillions of dollars committed. Where's all the money? It's committed, so we don't have it. We're in a manufacturing recession right now. Manufacturing is not doing well right now. And I guess here's my question for you there, Mark Wayne. Mark Wayne, I got a question for you, bud. If all of these countries are giving America all of this money, ostensibly for nothing, just giving America their money, right? What for what? Just pouring money in. How is it that Donald Trump is claiming that there is a crisis to invoke the Trade Act of 1974 if everybody's just giving us the money? Oh, I guess in your MAGA world, just whatever dear leader tells you, whatever your Kim Jong-un tells you, you just parrot. Here, play this clip.
Those are government created jobs. That's not true economy jobs that's stimulating the economy. When the president starts talking about the investments by bringing back manufacturing, it's not just saying we're going to bring back manufacturing. We've had trillions of dollars committed to rebuilding manufacturing plants right here inside the United States. And that's all happened, by the way, in 12 months.
Well, but manufacturing jobs actually were down for 8 months straight. But
we have trillions of dollars being invested back into the economy to build those manufacturing. We've lost those. We've offshored those, Caitlin. For the last 3 decades, we have built other countries' middle class. Why our middle class has suffered. President Trump is actually bringing manufacturing back to the United States, which is going to bring that middle class back, and we should applaud him for that.
We'll see if that's reflected in those manufacturing jobs numbers. Senator Mullin, thank you for joining us here tonight.
And more from the Epstein files, which I'll do a whole other video on that this morning. That's going to be a longer video on this. But NBC, CNN, Wall Street Journal, hat tip to Roger Sullenberger. He was the first to report on it. Give credit to independent reporters where it's due. The DOJ has not released records from 3 separate interviews the FBI conducted with the woman who alleged she was a sexual assault victim of Epstein and also made sexual abuse allegations against Donald Trump. Here's what Democratic Congress member Moulton had to say. Let's play it.
I mean, the DOJ seems very believe that they are Donald Trump's personal lawyers. And so I don't think there's any question that this was a mistake or a haphazard omission. They're clearly trying to protect the president here. And to be honest, if these accusations had any semblance of being false, then they would release the records. They would release the records that show that the FBI investigation it pursued came to a dead end, concluded that the allegations were not substantiated. So it's very suspicious that they're covering them up.
Well, there you have it, folks. Let me know what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers. And thanks so much for watching.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.